Ready to get Visual Studio Code installed on your Windows PC? Stand by. This video is about to start.
This is the Savage Scientist Ed right here. And I'm over in the police car.
What's up, folks? This is the Savage Scientist Ed, the governor of the great state of Swampland. Today I'm going to be talking to y'all about how to install Visual Studio Code on your Windows PC. And we're doing that for the C++ language. So there are not too many steps in this process. So let's get started. Right, so here go the timestamps for this video. So skip along. You can file it in order, or you can just skip to the part that you need to see. Alright, so let's start off with the system requirements. Alright, so let's do a quick Google search here. And let's find Visual Studio Code. And let's look up the system requirements. And most likely, if you have a pretty decent computer, pretty up-to-date computer, shit, you probably can run this on an old computer, probably a 5 or 6 year old computer. You shouldn't have any trouble running Visual Studio Code. This is the system requirements. Now let's see what our system have right here. We have at least one gig on the processor. We have at least 1 gig on the RAM. 1 gig of RAM. You probably could run that on your smartphones. And it is running Windows 10, so we got that. So let's see how much space we got on hard drive. Go to this PC if you're running Windows 10, and this hard drive is good. We have 16 gigs and we only need 500 megabytes. So we good on that. So let's install Visual Studio. Let's bring the horizon down. I say it down. Shit. So let's get it installed on our computer. So you just follow the link and download it. So mine already downloaded. So just follow that link and it's gonna download. And it normally should download automatically. So let's open this file. So double click the executable and you can run it straight from the browser if you're running Chrome or something, or if you just happen to download it in any downloads folder, navigate to where this executable file is located and let's get it installed. You hit yes and then you go through all this crap and there it is. And Microsoft isn't going to try and install all kind of bullshit on your computer, so you won't have to worry about it's trying to install McAfee and all this other stuff. It's Microsoft. I mean, they're going to collect data on you anyway, so just let it install. So there it is. We're finishing up this installation. Now, hit this finish. All right, so now the program is starting. The first thing you're going to do is, yeah, if you want to, you could set the themes and all that. But what I want to do is get everything set up for the C++ programming language. So see the little gear icon on the bottom. You're going to select that and select extensions. So when the extensions populate, you're going to see stuff like this Python and all this. You see in the search bar on the top, you would just type in C++. That's the name of the language that we're going to be installing, are we setting up for C++ today. So see the first hit is this C/C++. So we're going to install the extension to make it so Visual Studio Code is going to recognize the C++ language, and that's going to make it so keywords going to highlight and all that other good stuff. So, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, whenever I do later videos, you're going to see what the keywords and all that other good stuff is. So we just trying to get this thing installed, so let's continue. So after you install the extension for C++, then we need to get our compiler. So now it's time for us to install the compiler. So what you're gonna do, go back into Google and we're gonna search for MINGW64. That's MINGW-64. And you wanna get the executable. So you should look for MINGW64 install.exe, because there's some other crap that comes with it and we don't need that other crap. So here it is. This is the link that I used on this SourceForge just download it. It should download automatically, but if it doesn't, just give it a little time. And then you're gonna click on it. And you're gonna go through all the OKs and all this good stuff. So here is the little tricky part. So once it's installed, then you're gonna be presented with this box. What you're gonna do is make sure you got the correct version. So I'm gonna be running version 8.10. So under architecture, it's gonna give you two options. So you're gonna have the R686 or the X86_64. I'm thinking the top one is probably 32-bit and the second one is 64-bit. So get the right version for your computer. If it doesn't work, then just try the other one. That's the best way I would look at it. So now let's continue on getting this thing installed. So leave all this other stuff alone. And now let's hit next. Install it in the default folder. And you're gonna want to install it in the default folder because we're gonna have to do some more stuff. Once it's installed, you're gonna click next and finish. All right, so now it's time to set up the environment variables so Visual Studio can find a compiler. So you're gonna go in, you're gonna just do a search in the Windows search bar for edit environment. Soon whenever you start typing it, it's gonna start popping up. So edit environment variables for your account. So you're gonna select that one, and you're gonna see some variables. So the only one we're concerned with is path. You're gonna double click path, and it's gonna pop up this box. So what you're gonna do is add a new one. So go to new, and now it's time. So you just leave that box alone. So now we're gonna have to find out where the compiler is installed on your computer. So in my case, since I use the default location, and this is probably where yours located. So you're gonna access your C drive. Most likely Windows is installed on the C drive. So we're gonna go to C drive, C, program files, MING-W64. And then you're gonna see this long name, x86, all this other stuff. You're gonna select that one. And then you're gonna select MING-W64 again. And now you're gonna select BIN for binary. And once you're in that folder, just select the entire path by clicking copy. And then you're gonna return to the user environment variables. And you're gonna paste that into the new field, and it's gonna populate. And then you're gonna hit OK and close all that crap out. So now it's not done yet. So this is another step that you have to go through. So once it's installed, you want to check to make sure it's installed. So you're gonna type in these two commands. So the first command you're gonna run is G++ space -- version. And if you get results, that means everything checks out. But if you just happen to get something like this, then go back and check your setup. The second command you're gonna run is GDB space -- version. And same thing, if you get an error message or if you don't get solid results, and go back and check and see if you use the correct installer. So now that everything tested, now it's time for us to test our C++ compiler by writing some code. To follow along with this tutorial, you're going to need to create a folder on the desktop called VS Code. That's going to be our working folder for this project. I'm going to select Visual Studio Code. So let's start here. So let's open a folder. We're going to go with Desktop VS Code. And we're going to select that folder. Yes, we trust it, so we're going to go ahead on and trust it. So we have a folder called VS Code. We're going to add a file, and we're going to name it test.cpp. So it's real important to include that .cpp. That means that we're creating a C++ file. And if you leave that off, you're going to run into problems later. So now I'm about to hurry up and speed code hello world so we could compile it and run it. And put our terminating brace and return 0. That's it. So this should compile. So to run this code, you're going to go up to terminal and run build task. And we're going to select the one that says G++. And it's running in the terminal. So it just created our file. So now I want to run this in a new terminal. So we're gonna get out of PowerShell and go into regular DOS mode. So we're gonna type in CMD. Now it's regular. Now we out of PowerShell. If you want to go back to PowerShell, just type in the word PowerShell. There it is. That's some PowerShell crap. So we in PowerShell again. So dir. And as you can tell, whenever you run a dir, it's going to look like this. We want the good old-fashioned DOS 6 looking dir. So let's go back by typing CMD. And now run dir. That's what we need. So let's just run test. You can just type it. There it is. Hello world is now displayed. And if you want to look at the code again, just type in cat test.cpp. Oh, well, that's a Unix thing. So now you got to go back into PowerShell. And now you can type in TE. Now you can do a cat on it. And now you can see your code. Without even, I mean, the damn code is right on top. But as you can see, there's a lot of different things you could do. And I didn't mean to do that either. So let's leave out of this by typing in CMD. And we got to, I mean, it shows, so a lot of these commands are cross-commandable. New word. Alright, so now let's look at what we have here. So if I want to just change the word hello world to that, we're going to go into terminal, run the build task. And we're going to select this one, the one that ends with GPP. So it's built correctly. And now you're going to go back in the terminal. Or we could do split terminal and see we have a split terminal with our code in it. So now we just change to the regular terminal. And now dir. And now let's type in test. You just have to type in test. This is how you see your program. Just type the name of it, test. And as you can see, this is the contents of our program. And what I'm going to do is I want it to be on its own line. So let's put it on its own line a lot. So we're going to do backspace in, and that's going to force it to its own line. Now let's run our program. On the menu, you're going to select terminal. Then you're going to select run build task. And then you're going to select the one that's C/C+. Is going to end with G++. That's the compiler you're going to select. Now let me explain this dual terminal split screen action we have going on the bottom. Alright, so our source code is right here. Whenever we compile our source code, the result's going to show here where it says compiled results. And if it compiles without any errors, we could run it. So we're going to run it in this box. So to recap this, box 1 is going to be our source code. Box 2 is the compiled results showing any errors. And box 3, which you should be in CMD mode. So if it show up with PowerShell, just type in CMD, and that's going to revert to our normal CMD command prompt. And if you want to go back to PowerShell, just type in PowerShell. And another thing I want to show you in the results is the new line character. So I remember earlier before I started to change this example, I said I was going to show you how to put the results, or how to make it so you're going to have space in between the results so you could actually see it. So these two new lines. So we got one here, and I put another one right here. So we have two lines separating the results from when you return back to the command prompt. So that's what I wanted to do with that example. And in the code, you can see this /n. That's what the /n does. So now that you saw this video, you can see that it is a little work to use Visual Studio Code, because this is one of the big differences between Visual Studio Code and using Microsoft Visual C++. Visual Studio Code is what we would call an editor. Visual C++ is what we would call an IDE, Integrated Development Environment. I think that's what that stands for. Well, you don't have to do anything. All the tools are built into Visual Studio C++. As you can see, we have to go out into the terminal to compile our code and do all that stuff. So I'm going to do another video on using Microsoft Visual C++. That's the compiler I always use. No problems. So till I make my next video, this is the Savage Scientist Ed, governor of the state of Swampland. Like, comment, and share this video.